God Valley has been taking over One Piece media as of late, and for all the right reasons. We have been seeing every legend we wanted to appear and get ready to throw down in one of the most important events in the history of One Piece. With the recent chapters sparking up agendas of all kinds, people have been debating who exactly was the strongest during God Valley, and in today's video, I'll be going over just that. What's up guys, my name is Vertics, and if you enjoy videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I put out quality content weekly, you won't want to miss. Let's start off with the man who started the Great Pirate Era, Gol D. Roger. Leading up to God Valley itself, he was already a known threat against the government. We got to see him clash with Garp, where both fighters would take heavy damage, and although we didn't see what happened following their clash, since the Roger pirates would still be roaming the seas for years, they would have had to gotten away. Nothing seems to be different in his fighting style, but we know Garp would constantly treat him as the biggest catch in the sea, always wanting to imprison him and his crew. He's also someone who is confident enough to take down rocks and would get in his face while at Shaki's bar. The next setting we would see him in would be when he and the rest of the Roger pirates would make landfall on God Valley and go to save Shaki. During these moments we have seen so far, Roger would get caught in a fight with Whitebeard, creating conquer hockey explosions similar to Kuzan and Garp. However, due to Newgate being such a formidable force, Roger couldn't get through and had to rely on Rayleigh to go and save Shaki. Now, this doesn't mean that Roger is inferior to Newgate here, only that he couldn't defeat or get past him quickly enough, and I believe that during this time, Roger did have superior strength. Newgate didn't have his world's strongest man title at this time, nor did he form his crew and fight as the absolute strongest unit his crew possessed. Roger, on the other hand, was valued a lot higher than Whitebeard was, and obviously fought as the captain of the Roger pirates for years at this point. We do know that Roger is one of the many characters who isn't at their strongest state during God Valley, yet still was one of the strongest fighters present. But let's see how his competition fares up. The main competitor I imagine we will see Roger start fighting against soon is his biggest hater, Garp. Like I stated during the last section, they clashed prior to God Valley, and both took a beating. However, Garp has a bit of an edge, having not only been hit by a sword slash, but also not having as nearly strong subordinates as Roger does. This can't go unnoticed, and I believe it has a lot to do with why Garp didn't capture Roger all those times. If they had a fair 1v1, I'm sure at least in a few of those matchups, Garp could have came out on top. While on God Valley, he was frightening everyone he came across, and had all three of Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido running for their lives. Now, Kaido does want to fight Garp here, but he at this time was weaker than Big Mom, and definitely Whitebeard, who were the ones that wanted to run away in the first place. Big Mom tells Kaido they'll be stuck there forever and to just forget it, and Whitebeard doesn't even question this notion. Even when Big Mom fired an attack at Garp, he stood there unfazed, mocking her abilities. It's clear that Garp is above all three of them, and has arguably the worst backup, pretty much carrying the Marines during God Valley. The same Newgate God Valley Garp scales above is one-shotting Holy Knights without even knowing it. And at the same time, Big Mom was asking Whitebeard if he wanted to settle their score. Yet even when they have Kaido with them, the sight of Garp is enough to make them run away and haul ass. As for his score with Roger goes, well, I stated that the reason Roger most likely got away all those times was because of his crew being stronger than Garp's support. However, if they were to have come into contact during this time in a 1v1, I believe that the majority of those times would see Garp winning. He seems to be a lot more aggressive about beating Roger than Roger is with Garp, and I think that with the overwhelming strength his attacks, such as Galaxy Impact possess, combined with the range he can fire them from, would be too much for Roger to handle, at least during God Valley. Garp isn't the only government affiliate that is on the island and possesses insane strength. Garling is certainly being showcased as a lot more imposing of a threat than we first thought he would. After being the confirmed father of Shanks and Shamrock, we see him viciously attack their mother in cold blood. We also know that he has knowledge of Emu, meaning that in the future, maybe very soon, we could see him possess immortality and even other abilities unknown to us at the moment. If you've been paying attention to his dialogue, he is a lot more confident in his and the Holy Knight's abilities compared to the Marines, even telling them to pull back and protect the Celestial Dragons. He, of course, is the strongest member of the Holy Knights, and they all acknowledge his strength in some way, especially Summers. The guy knew he couldn't get one in over Garling, so he tried to take out Shaki just so nobody could have her. Now, since this video is made before 1162, we haven't seen what he was able to do against the other top tiers on God Valley as of yet, but it is possible that he scarred Whitebeard here. Now, I'm not entirely sure if he did, because Newgate did say that Shanks reminded him of the man who gave him his scar years back, but here's the thing. During the Odin flashback, which was well after the events of God Valley, Whitebeard was drawn without a scar on him. Now, it could have been because Oda forgot to draw it, but still, who else could have done that to Whitebeard of all people and remind him of Shanks? If it wasn't Garling, it would have had to been a young-ass Shamrock, but I don't know if I can even believe that. If you guys know anyone that fits this description better than Garling, please name them in the comments, but we have to at least keep him scoring Whitebeard in the back of our minds. I also am going to throw out my speculation that he played a part in the defeat of Rox more than we think, being that Rox was ordered to be killed by the Gorosei and was a threat to the Celestial Dragons. But while Garling was one of the most intimidating figures on the island, he definitely wasn't the strongest. Because that title goes to the man who was in his prime and who we have been following within this flashback, Davy D. Zabek, aka Rox. Now, being real, most people probably agree with me here. I don't imagine I will see much if any disagreements with this. We first got to see him in battle against Harold on two different occasions, the first being at the Holy Land, where the two of them collided in a Conquerors hockey clash that sent everyone in a 5-kilometer radius flying back. After being on somewhat friendly terms for a while, the government would give Harold the task of killing Rox, in which he accepts. They would then have their true battle against each other, where in my opinion, I don't think that Rox was going all out here. He is being betrayed by someone whom he believed to be his friend and comrade. During this fight, not only is he landing more powerful blows onto Harold, but he is also trying to make Harold realize what the government is trying to do to him and the Giants. Yet because of Harold's desire for Elbaf to be within the inner circle of the world, he just can't listen to him and calls Rox a villain. He not only was on the winning side of the fight, but didn't have the heart in the fight like Harold did. However, his most impressive feat is barging into the flower room after killing an admiral and threatening Emu to their face, saying he'll be back. This is the only time a feat like this has ever been achieved. On top of this, he was able to round up a crew unlike anything we have ever seen before. While they aren't full-fledged followers, they are still kept in line by Rox in order to align their own interest. When we first learned about Rox, it was from Sengoku, so take it how you will, but it said that Garp and Roger needed to team up in order to defeat Rox. Knowing that Rox had his crewmates with him, it's not like Rox was completely alone in this interaction, but he was still outnumbered by several forces. I also said that I believe Garling played a hand in this as well, but it's not just him who I think participated. As with Saturn being present on the island, it's likely that the Gorosei and or even Emu decided to take action against Rox. This isn't confirmed, but I really wouldn't put it past them, and Rox, being the insane threat that he is, would require insane forces to take down. If Roger and Garp had to set their differences aside just to beat Rox, then I can't sit here and say that either of them was stronger than Rox, at least on God Valley. The man had top tier swordsmanship and hockey to combat both of them, and support stronger than either of Roger or Garp's. The guy is the face of this flashback, and I think we can all agree that Rocks was the strongest character on God Valley. Well, that's it for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a like. It really helps with the algorithm and is very appreciated. As always, shout out to Tiberius for the thumbnail. He makes quality thumbnails for me all the time, and if you would like some of your own, hit him up on Twitter, link in the description, as well as my Twitter at Vertics_ for more of my takes. And without further ado, you guys can get out of here.